In a gigantic country with show-stopping scenery and a culture that thrives on driving, it makes sense the USA has the lion's share of Earth's most astonishing scenic roads, and many make up the Pacific Coast Highway, stretching more than 1,500 miles from San Diego to Washington's Strait of Juan de Fuca. Arguably, Central California's Route 1 from Morro Bay north to Big Sur and on to Monterey is the granddaddy of Pacific Coast scenic highways. Made world famous in Hollywood films and car commercials, for many, this 123-mile drive comes first to mind when asked to name America's most beautiful road. Starting in San Luis Obispo, an attractive inland city about 3.5 hours northwest of Los Angeles, California Highway 1 makes a 13-mile approach to the Pacific. Look for the Nine Sisters along the way, 23-million-year-old volcanic peaks culminating oceanside at Morro Rock. At 576 feet tall and distinctly shaped, it's been an important navigational tool for sailors for centuries. Morro Bay sits by the rock. As Route 1 leaves the town, it parallels the Pacific. 6 miles north is Cayucos, where Morro Rock continues to stand out. Cayucos dates back to the 1860s when schooners plied waters that today draw surfers and stand-up paddleboarders. Continuing 20 minutes north, Highway 1 enters foggy, funky Cambria. A seaside psychic, vintage fashion, and colorful pottery fill shop windows. But the most eclectic feature is Nitwit Ridge, a California registered historical landmark. Starting in 1928, Art Beale spent 50 years creating his hillside dream home from car parts, beer cans, old stoves, and shells, as well as remnants from nearby Hearst Castle. Leaving town and approaching San Simeon, the fog intensifies. If skies were clear, Hearst Castle would be visible on the mountain ridge, and if the road were open, we'd ride the bus to tour this 127-acre compound and its 115-room mansion. Newspaper mogul William Randolph Hearst began building his estate in 1919, and today it's part of the California State Parks system. But like every attraction along Route 1, mudslides and wildfires can cut off access at any time, so it's critical to check road conditions before setting out. Heading on from San Simeon, it's 5 minutes to one of the most remarkable wildlife observation areas in North America, if not the world. Thanks to their oil-rich blubber, elephant seals were hunted nearly to extinction in the late 1800s. In the early 1990s, they began settling here, and before long, 25,000 had made it their 8-mile-long oceanfront home. Named for their only a mother could love nose, elephant seal males weigh as much as 5,000 pounds. Living 8 to 10 months at sea, elephant seals come ashore twice a year. The rookery population peaks 3 times, early May, late October, and January-February, the most exciting time because that's when 70-pound pups are born, with beach-cleaning gulls nearby, hungry for afterbirth and mother's milk. Ick! Nature's spectacle continues as the road gets windier and the cliffs more steep. You never know when the fog will suddenly clear, as if it was never there at all. At Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park, a short walk crosses under the highway and then clings to the vertical bluff. In the distance, McWay Falls plunges 80 feet to the sand and surf. This area is also a terrific place to see California's monster redwoods. It's another 15 minutes to a roadside gem tucked away in these giants. Henry Miller was a well-known California writer who lived in this house in the late 1940s. Today, it's a bookstore that also hosts readings, film screenings, and intimate concerts. Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Pixies, and Patti Smith are just a few of the artists who have performed here. A couple miles more and the road arrives in Big Sur, offering a few restaurants, stores, and gas stations. While passing through, look carefully to the left for an unmarked road that curves sharply and steeply down Sycamore Canyon. It's a tight 2 miles, but worth the anxiety to see Pfeiffer Beach. Keyhole Arch is what most people come to see. But also look closely at the sand. Manganese garnet deposits wash down from the neighboring hills, creating purple streaks, hence Pfeiffer's nickname, Purple Sand Beach. Back on Route 1, close by Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park has a river running through it, with outstanding hikes and campgrounds nestled among the redwoods. Growing in a strip from central California to southern Oregon, redwood forests narrowly follow the Pacific coast, relying on the maritime climate's moisture, fog, and relatively stable temperature. Redwoods can live some 2,000 years, and they are the tallest trees in the world, reaching heights of 350 feet, with trunks more than 20 feet in diameter. More stretches of dazzling coastline lie ahead, before eventually crossing Bixby Creek Bridge, considered the second most famous and photographed bridge in California, after San Francisco's Golden Gate, of course. Built out of concrete in 1932, this single-span arch is 700 feet long and gracefully perches 260 feet above the beach. It's 11 more miles to another impressive park, Point Lobos State Natural Reserve, where a cliffside trail leads to tide pool treasures and pebbly beaches. Route 1 now enters Carmel by the sea. This spendy town is home to California's second mission church, built in 1771. The end of the scenic byway is Monterey. John Steinbeck immortalized life here during the Great Depression in his book Cannery Row. Today, the sardine canning factories have been turned into shops, restaurants, and one of the world's most respected aquatic museums. Opened in 1984, the Monterey Bay Aquarium houses more than 35,000 creatures, representing over 550 species. Top exhibits include the ever-popular sea otters, open sea in its 90-foot observation window, a wave simulator, and the artful brilliance of pulsing jellyfish. California's Route 1, from Morro Bay to Monterey, is an all-American road, the highest designation in the National Scenic Byways program. So it's always a popular drive, particularly on weekends. Keep in mind that parking is limited. It's the California coast, so the weather is generally pleasant year-round. But anymore, major wildfires can occur in any month, and winter sometimes brings huge storms, so plan accordingly. There's so much to see along the Pacific Coast Highway, and Route 1 is just 123 miles of it. We'll show you much more, including the drives immediately south, California's Central Coast, and north, Monterey to San Francisco, coming soon.